Hello, so this is the intro video for Clarinet. Again, sorry that it's taken a while for us to go through the instruments and for me to start my videos. I had problems with my computer. This is just an intro video to show you how to make sound on it, which is kind of the first big problem. With clarinets, it's putting together. With flutes, it's making sound at all. With trumpets and brass instruments, it's making sound that doesn't sound horrible consistently. And then with clarinets, the challenge is to just put it together. So we have a few parts. I want you to grab them from your case. We have our mouthpiece. Looks like a wedge. You want that. You want the barrel. Looks like a barrel. You want the ligature, which is the metal part that should have been on the mouthpiece. And you also want your reed. The reed is the small wooden part, okay? The first thing you want to get is your mouthpiece and barrel and put it together. And there's a song that I like to sing when we're putting stuff together. There's a wrong way, it's not sticky, and there's a right way. Generally, when we're putting things together, if it doesn't fit, as in it's way too hard to put together, it's probably the wrong way. And also, if it doesn't stick together, it's probably the wrong way. So you'll hear me sing that song a lot. Anyways, the next thing that we're going to do is take the reed and put it onto the clarinet. Now, if you look at your thumb, you'll kind of see that you have your thumbnail, and then maybe a little tiny bit of your thumb showing at the end. That's kind of how we want to see our mouthpiece. We don't want to cover up the bottom of our little thumbnail, okay? So take your reed, pretend like it's a little tiny ninja sword. Let's practice taking it out. Hiya! Now take the pointy bit and try putting it back into the case. Again, if it's too hard, if it's hard to put back in, you're probably doing it the wrong way. Let's try it again. Take it out. Yeah! One more time. Yeah! Okay, now you can take it out. Just like our thumbnail, there's a little U in that reed. We want to keep that U. We take the mouthpiece, we put the reed right on top of it, and try to line it up fairly close. It's okay if you see a little tiny bit of mouthpiece at the top, but not too much. Also look on the other side. Make sure that it's not way too high. You don't want to see that either, okay? When you do that, take your ligature. There's a wrong way, and there's a right way. Loosen it up maybe just a little bit, and you'll see that my screws are not that loose. When it's loose like this, you'll see that it's far under that U, and actually maybe even a little too far. Some of the mouthpieces have little lines to guide you. If yours has guides, go ahead and kind of try to line it up with the guide. After that, don't tighten it, but do make sure that the screws have been turned enough that they're holding on. You don't want it to be tight, because that kind of breaks the reed and all sorts of other things. So you don't want it to move. You don't want it to move, but you also don't want it clamped down. So this is pretty much a pretty good example of it being all lined up. It's lined up with the sides. It's not like turned off to the side like, for example, this would be a bad example where you can see that it's turned off to the side. You want it basically lined up with everything all neat and straight, okay? After that, just like we did in our first class, take your thumb before we try this. Take your thumb. Right your bottom lip, now your bottom face. Yes. Take that bottom lip, keep that bottom lip over your thumbnail. Your teeth should not be touching your thumbnail. Your teeth should be touching your finger. And just try to pretend that it's making sound. You do the same thing on the instrument. So bite your bottom lip. Make sure that the reed does not touch your teeth. It touches your bottom lip. You put your teeth on top, and then try to make sound out of it. You'll have to experiment a little bit with how tight your face is, how much air you're putting through, and also how much mouthpiece you put in. So, if you hear sounds like that, it's probably too far in. If you can barely make sound or not make sound at all, you're probably not having enough mouthpiece in the mouth. So the first challenge is just putting it together every single time like this, so we don't have to go back and fix it. And the second challenge is to just make sound of it. So when you can do that with no challenges, then we're ready for the next video.